still on 83,
Well,
not
not
out
for
by the
days,
end.
I
anyway.
don't think we're going to see anyone grinding out an innings. That's my prediction. I think this South Africa team is in disarray, and although they've got the new coaching staff in position, there'll be a lot of pressure on these boys, Endo.
Jingle for the new bloke.
New bloke.
Describes batting like war. Hours of boredom. Standing in a field. Then a few seconds of excruciating existential terror as people hurl things at you with deadly force.
You know, that was almost both a mess, Kendo, wasn't it? In the way that Anderson came back into a test match and bowls a absolutely shite ball and gets a wicket.
Yep, indeed.
Shades of Ian Botham versus New Zealand on his comeback test that time, after his
I
extended
think
drugs ban.
Jimmy's in better shape than Botham was in that.
Has he got as good an agent?
He hasn't got as good a mullet.
Anyway, he's going to be bowling to Hamza. 3 slips in the gully, forward short leg are the close fielders. He's in, he bowls to him, and there's a little bit of gentle away swing. And Hamza, the right-hander, leaves that comfortably enough outside the off stump. What I was going to say, though, is you're talking about this team, and certainly from a batting perspective, being in disarray. But Hamza, as he walked out, looked like a very reluctant number 3. Do I have to? Is it like a man who's just been disturbed in bed and has to get up a little bit earlier for work than he expected, and he didn't look happy at all.
As Richie Beno would say, his body language.
Yeah, not very good body language. That's. Well, we're just looking at Jimmy Anderson. He's laughing his head off to taking that wicket. Here he comes again. In, bowls to Hamza. Again, there is a little bit of away swing, but he props forward, gets a thick outside edge. It runs away, finds the gap between third slip and gully, and beg your pardon, Dave Brooke. And it's 4 runs. Nope.
Not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Well, Hendo,
Can I just apologise if anyone did pick that up on the effects microphone? Too much turkey.
Oh dear.
Hendo, you've done some remarkable preparation for this test match. So
Yep.
what can you tell us about Zubair Hussain?
I can tell you that he's 24 and he's very handsome. Is that enough to be going on with?
Christine,
Handsome
you've been
and
doing your
reluctant.
notes or something?
Handsome and reluctant.
Handsome and reluctant, that's what I know about him so far. In comes Anderson again. Oh, now he comes forward a little bit reluctant to get his front foot right out to that one, but he gets a thick inside edge. It runs behind the man at short leg, who has to chase to backward square leg, and they take a single.
Can I chip
tell
in
you-
with? Can I chip in with his stats?
You can, yes.
He's played 2 Test matches, and he's scored 103 runs, a highest score of 62, and an average of 25.7. Fred, you've got a better batting average than that.
No, I don't think I have,
Oh,
actually.
I don't know.
A word about this pitch. It's looking distinctly mottled.
It does. Mottled was the word I was thinking of. It was in my head. Yes, absolutely right. It does. It's got an odd look about it. I don't know that the ball's going to swing for very long, though. It seems quite a bright day. There's no cloud about. It may be quite humid. I don't know. We need to get a humidifier out there, find out what's going on. Anderson then in, bowls to Markram, and Markram is forward to a ball. Maybe just nip back a little bit. Played up to new ball partner of Jimmy Anderson. They're back in tandem today, Stuart Broad. And there is no run. Have we got any tweets?
We have. Hello, good morning to Senior Brain Damage.
Hello.
He says, as long as Pope comes back when fit, that's the main thing. I'm not having this team slipping into old ways and habits by persisting with Bairstow. Don't give a toss what he scores here. Not having it.
It was a very good point, though, but Bairstow's got a fantastic average in South Africa. In comes Anderson, bowls to Markram. Markram leaves a ball with good length outside the off stump. That's the end of the over. Jimmy getting up to 130, he's taken a wicket, and South Africa are 5 for 1.
Very good morning to Jay Grover, who joins us and gives us some seasonal greetings. Hope all was jolly.
Oh, well,
Was
jolly,
it jolly for you, Hendo?
jolly-ish, I suppose, yes.
All was good for Jay Grover, apart from his crackers, which were predictably shit.
We didn't have crackers this year. They're just expensive, aren't they, crackers? They're about, £100 per cracker.
Well, the more you spend, the better value they are, because you get sort of goods and services and items inside.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah, but did you get any good jokes? Did you get any good jokes in your crackers?
I did.
Give us one. Go
What
on.
about the ghost?
Go on.
What does a ghost wear in the rain?
A body?
A cagoon.
Oh, it's not bad. Fred, have you got anything?
Why did the ant tear across the... Why?
He's lost that one. He's given up on that
Anyway, Hendo, you don't need crackers for Christmas.
one. Hey,
Crackers all year round.
crackers enough, indeed, absolutely.
Well, eventually we are going to see the second over of the day. It's going to be bowled by this chap.
He's coming in to Hamza, and Hamza turns that rather nicely off his legs down to long leg for a single. Jofra Archer's there.
If God was one of the odds.
Can someone give us a humidity ranking for Pretoria, Centurion, Tishwani?
It's hot.
I know it's hot, but the humidity.
Oh, what's it?
Humidity. Not the hottity, the humidity.
Who was it who said we'd never see Broad and Anderson playing Test cricket again?
Oh, I wouldn't
together?
be surprised if it was Gary.
Was it Vaughan? Was it a Vaughan 3 comment?
No, it might well have been Vaughan, actually, who had to endure during the night, or the first hour and a half of Australia, New Zealand last night, which, of course, was linked by our old friend Dick Norcroft. Here comes Broad in bowls, just coming back into hands to Mark, who times this beautifully. Nothing more than a forward push, and that, unbelievably, is going to roll past mid-on and all the way eventually to the boundary.
What did you think of that dive from Jimmy Anderson at mid-on?
It's a dive of a 37-year-old.
Yes. In fact, it was a dive of a 53-year-old.
It's a bit
to be
late
honest.
on to that, wasn't it?
He said, Stuart, I was trying, honest. Anyway, that's a lovely shot from the man whose wrist has only recently recovered from being put through a door. He's a very, very attractive batsman, actually, Markham. Very good through the offside.
Was it a domestic accident?
No, it was in India. He missed the third test. He did a Ben Stokes, basically. In he comes, bowls, onto the back foot goes Markham, getting in behind this one and defending back to the bowler. Now, apparently what happened, he got a pair, and in the second innings, when he was out, he didn't review, and then when he got back to the pavilion, found out that he wouldn't have been out. And so, on that basis, he decided to thump the dressing room
I
door.
mean, it really doubles the pain for batsmen, isn't it? You're annoyed about getting out.
Yep.
And, then to have to cope with that on top is probably doesn't do much for batsmen's fragile states of mind.
You can understand it in those circumstances. Broad in again, bowls. Oh, what a beauty that is! Just a little bit back of a length, but it went off the seam and forced him onto the back foot. He couldn't get bat on it. Lovely delivery from Broad.
Hendo, do you know what balls they're using?
Kookaburra, isn't it? I believe. So we don't expect it to do too much for very long.
Well, as far as swing's concerned, but it's possible that there may be movement off the pitch.
Maybe we need to talk.
regardless
We
of
need
the,
to talk about this this decision of England to put South Africa into bat.
Look, you got Jofra Archer as first or second change. That's strength and depth in the bowling department.
Well, there is. Broad in, full of ball. Again, a little bit of nibble, but this time Markram has decided to leave it, so no problem
I
there.
mean, Hendo, you have to say, with Dominic Sibley and the likes of him in the team, isn't it a better, stronger bowling team than batting side as
Bloody
far as
hell.
England are concerned?
Yeah, Denley. You forgot about Denley.
Oh, Joe Denley.
But I mean, I thought this about New Zealand last night. Is it just a sense of the fragility of your batting lineup that you put a team into bat when you would think everything's pointing to you batting? 3 slips of gully, backward point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg. In comes Broad, bowls, too wide of the off stump this time. Left alone by Markram.
Good carry to the keeper.
Yes,
although we
decent
don't know how
carry.
far he's standing back, to be fair.
I mean, the other thing you've got to factor into the equation is, of course, that we've got Archer, or England have got Archer, but South Africa have got Rabada, and Rabada has got a fantastic record. I mean, he's averaging about 22. And
of course, Vernon Philander in his last Test series. So both teams have got stronger bowling. attacks.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
So that could be another factor that was influencing Joe Root. Do you
Well,
think?
it was. I suspect so, but at the same time, what we were being told is that this pitch will deteriorate. This is one of those pitches that deteriorates late 4th day into the 5th day.
But speaking from the other point of view, do you think Joe Root didn't want to expose the England batting?
Yeah, but that's. I think there could be something in that, but that's a worry, isn't it?
It is.
That you're thinking that way.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, Rory Burns is coming off 100 in the second test in New Zealand. Full ball from Anderson, which Hamza plays rather inelegantly. There's a bit of bat, bit of pad, bit of glove perhaps, but ball drops down in front of him, and there is no run. So 10 for 1 is the score. If you're just joining us, remember, of course, that you do have a choice. We never forget you have a choice. You have Guerrilla Cricket, the original and the best. And then you have Guerrilla Cricket
Other
South
stuff.
Africa,
You've got other stuff as well.
who are in South Africa. I think they've got less people on than we have. Anyway, here comes
Fewer.
Anderson. Fewer, indeed, outside the off stump. Well, it could be either in that circumstance. Left alone by Hamza. And
Sub-editors.
through to the keeper it goes. Now, what we should know, very soon is how much money is involved in the GPL today.
Just wondering whether Fred has a problem with those supermarkets that say less than 6 items or less.
I do, yeah.
Do you correct them?
Well, Fred has any number of problems. I don't think we want to go there.
I have seen a supermarket which says fewer. I can't remember which it is, and I was gave them a round of applause. I'm going to try and find the GPL. But
Oh, good, that would be
I'm not
handy.
sure that we're logged in.
Beautiful day, Super Sport Park. I do like a place called Super Sport Park. Outside the off stump, left alone by Hamza, who then has a little look at this mottled pitch, goes down the wicket to have a little prod. I don't know, there's something about Hamza. He just looks like a Test cricketer to me. He's lithe. He's looks in good nick. He's young. He's gorgeous. He's
You do seem to be making this point.
yes,
repeatedly.
I do. He's he just looks like he's born to this game. Anyway, here comes Anderson again in to Hamza, and he props forward and leaves a ball that's far too wide outside the off stump. Very little deviation on its route through to Butler.
The
Yes,
GPL
Fred.
is open.
The GPL is open. How much money?
Unsurprisingly, there's no entries yet because the Shrewdies coming out a little bit later.
Yeah.
And there are £53 in the pot.
There are £53, 53
So-
individual pounds.
Yes.
Put
Not
together.
fewer than £53.
£53, and if you want to know how to enter the GPL, I shall tell you in a minute after Anderson has bowled his latest delivery. Good crowd in, which is nice to see.
Boxing Day.
It is indeed Boxing Day. Oh, now this one jags back in off the seam, into the ribs almost of Hamza, who drops the ball down comfortably enough into the offside, and there is no run. Now, the GPL, if you would like to take part, what you have to do is you have to go to the Gorilla Cricket website, which is gorillacricket.com. Go to competitions. If you have already registered, that's fine. If not, do so. And then you can estimate how many runs you think will be scored in total in the day. And for the fun of doing that, you give us £1 each time you guess. And if you get it on the nose, you win all the money. In comes Anderson. Again, Fuller. Again, not too much deviation, but that one was a little bit quicker, 138 Ks. Just putting bending his back a little bit there, wasn't he? Come back to the GPL in a minute, but after some tweets.
Lots of tweets coming in. Forgive my tardiness. Mary Messi Jesmus.
Oh,
we know who you are, Messi Jez. Morning all. What do you mean, Dave? I hope these guys really are indisposed. Do you think they just went along for the ride? Well, I mean, I'm thinking of Graham Thorpe when he went out there when he just came off an intravenous drip. Didn't stop him from going out and completing his innings. I'm just wondering how ill you have to be not to be fit for a test
Dean
match.
Jones.
Dean Jones, indeed.
Was it Bangalore? Where was
Indeed,
it?
surely, I don't know what's wrong with them. Jay Grover, is Brooke wearing a smoking jacket? Well, it is actually I thought in honour of the Boxing Day festivities, I'd bring along the jacket I was wearing
And what's the cap?
for the Christmas Day. The cap is a Bob Marley cap.
Ah, right, okay. Broad starts his second over, bowls to Markram. Ball comes back a little bit into him, and he's just sort of playing that almost at arm's length, gets a thick inside edge towards mid-wicket, and there is a single.
Chris Drew says bonjour. Greetings from Normandy. Well, he didn't say bonjour, I added that.
Okay.
Hope Santa found your stockings. Dave Wood, I'm listening for what it's worth. Dave, it's worth a lot to us to know that. Thank you for listening. Mayank says, I'm listening to you both, i.e. both Gorilla Cricket and Gorilla South Africa, listening to you both on each of my cell phones. It's actually much harder than I thought it would be. Good effort.
Are we totally in sync? That's the other thing we need to know. It'd be interesting to know how long the satellite signal is taking to get to us as compared to them. Here comes Broad again in bowls. That's Fuller. Beautifully timed by Hamza. It's gone away through mid-on for a couple.
Do you think it's the first time an online radio station has offered a choice of two English language commentaries separated only by their accents?
That's a good point. Actually, I'd be more impressed with Gorilla Cricket South Africa if they were doing it in Afrikaans. That would test them, wouldn't it? Anyway, Hamza moves on to 8. Does look like a good pitch to bat on when you actually meet the ball, doesn't it?
Well, neither of these two bowlers are particularly quick. I mean, they're very skillful bowlers and good at swinging the ball and moving the ball off the seam. But it's going to be interesting to see when the quicker bowler comes into the attack.
That will be fun. Broad in again to Hamza. Well, it was almost drivable, but he decided to err on the side of caution and let it go through.
And the slower bowler of Sam Carroll.
Oh yeah, true. Good point. So 13 for 1 is the score if you're just joining us. Yes, in fact, if you are listening to both of us at the same time, obviously that sounds quite complicated.
And pointless.
and pointless. Well, I don't know, because it puts figures onto both of our.
Well, yeah, but
You know.
even if you click it on once and then turn it off, doesn't it add figures?
I don't know anything. I don't really understand.
Watch
these
us on YouTube and Facebook and Quick Tracker as well.
There's-
Keep
oh yes, we
pumping
should
up
say,
our numbers.
We should say hello to Crick Tracker. This is on forcing Hamza onto the back foot. He just guides it up to mid-on, and there is no run. Well, what I was going to say though, not so much about the pace of these bowlers, but a couple of mere pushes down the ground that have gone, comfortably past mid-on. There's been no real attacking intent in those shots, but it just suggests to me the ball's coming on really nicely to the bat if it doesn't actually do anything.
Which is why I'd be interested to see what the faster bowler does, because
Octopus Energy, the U-Switch Supplier of the Year and Which recommended provider 3 years in a row.
if Broad and Anderson are coming off the wicket quickly, he might. Oh, what happened there?
Well, that was an interesting one. It seemed to move, but Hamza had already decided not to play at that one. It was quite
seemed
wide.
to move. I see what you did
It
there.
seemed to move, but
It moved dramatically off the seam actually, but it started wide and went wider. But again, good carry from both of these. So, if Jordan bowls a couple, particularly short ones, that may hurry the batsman.
well, the thing is with Jordan, he's got a little bit to prove after New Zealand, hasn't he?
Jordan.
Jordan, I always say Jordan. Jofra Archer. Jordan's got it all to prove.
Got it all
after
to
New
prove to get into this test team.
Broad again, once more a little bit of seam, but he's starting the ball too late at the moment, and Hamza's not having to play. That's the end of the over. South Africa have moved on to 13 for 1.
Some of us would love to see Jordan and
I'm
Archer bowling in tandem.
Oh, God, yes, we would.
Sussex
One of you,
supporters would
yes.
like to see them bowling in tandem when they're not playing for the Hampshire Southampton Slingers or whatever they're called next season. Leah says, "Good morning, Gorilla Cricket. I hope you had a peaceful Christmas, but now it's time for relentless sledging." And here's two words I don't recognise: Benshods and Benshodettes. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Leah. Can you explain? Mayank says, according to Gorilla South Africa, it was a cameraman who was hurt.
Oh.
And Gorilla Cricket, Mark Zip tweets us with, "Jimmy, can we hear the undertones jingle now?" And PJ Mead says, "I'm with you, Gorilla Cricket. I'm also very glad this isn't a 5 a.m. start. The photographer looks like he's had a nasty fall."
How did he do that? It looked like he got trapped under a cover. Anderson comes in and bowls a big half volley, which Markram dispatches all the way along the ground, square of the wicket, 4 runs.
Yeah, it was a half volley, and he did dispatch it well. But I don't think Anderson will be sorry to see him playing out there. Bat was well away from, his feet weren't going towards the ball.
It did move a little bit quite late on,
Yeah.
but he was in position to play it nicely.
And if ever Jimmy, who famously hates going for runs, if ever he would deal with that, is when he sees a batsman playing that far outside the off stump this early in the Test match.
He's in again. Oh, he's gone after that one. He's had a horrible slash at it off the back foot, but he's got lucky. It's flown just over slip and down to the third man boundary for one of these.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
Well, he is an attacking batsman, but having just hit a 4, I suppose that one started wide and went wider. It was a fair enough one to go after, but early on,
Again, good bounce.
yeah. Well, in fact, it's probably the good bounce that saved him, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because it took it up and over slips 1 and 2, really. Not a great deal over them, to be fair. About a couple of feet as they leapt. And Jofra Archer had his hands on his head there, thinking that England might have got another breakthrough. Anyway, here comes Anderson again. Consecutive 4s outside the off stump. It might be a third. No, he hasn't quite got hold of that. He's forced it into the offside. Joe Denley is after it. He's just about going to haul it back. He's had support from Jofra Archer, who's then fallen over as he takes the ball from him. Eventually gets it in, and they pick up 3. So Markham going along quite nicely now, 4-4-3.
Considering that Anderson and Broad are definitely going to be the opening partnership in this England team, and they're playing with a Kookaburra ball which doesn't swing all that much after the first couple of overs, Curran is likely to be probably second change.
Yeah.
I mean, he does swing the ball, albeit at a gentle pace, even when the ball is not swinging. But is this going to be the wicket for him?
Good question. Anderson in again, really good carry there from just back of a length, and Hamza this time facing, leaves it alone. The score has now moved on to 24 for 1. One thing we should say about Hamza is he's averaging in first class cricket just over 50. Got a high score of 202, so he's a man who can stay in for the long haul. And it's good to see. I mean, people may talk about South Africa being in transition, but if good young players come through, they'll be off to take a Kolpak, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they'll be signing for Worcestershire before you know it.
Indeed. Anderson, a little bit wide on the crease, but also wide of the batsman at the other end and left alone by him.
You could say they're auditioning all the South African players and live on television in England.
I suppose the other thing is, though, that one thing we pointed out during our podcast in preview of this series is that all of the 6 new players in the squad, they're not all playing, of course, they're not all making their debuts, but all of them are 29 or 30, which is curious. They've all got quite good first-class records, the batting ones anyway. Peter Malan, who's been left out, comes from a fantastic family of players. Wide of the off stump, just a little bit of an early away swing and then left alone by Hamza through the keeper. There is no run. 24 for 1. More
Right,
tweets.
I've got to catch up because lots of people tweeting in, which is lovely to hear from you all. Leah says turned out okay for Jimmy, at least. I was referring to Jimmy's first ball. If you missed that, a wicket off his very, very first ball. Tony Bishop, good morning, Tony, says on a serious note, serious face, fantastic effort for Guerrilla Cricket to have a tip-top quality commentary team bringing you every ball live of South Africa versus England on Boxing Day. Yes, they'll be on after us. Turned out okay for Jimmy, at least, indeed. Sorry, that was Leah's comment. Mary Jesmus says presumably Jimmy has at least 1 over left in the series, so he better make the best of it. Oh, I love it. And Leah and Mayank says that it's a huge crowd at the MCG where Australia made 257 for 4, which was the lowest runs per spectator day of Test cricket ever played in Australia. Poor show, Australia. We've already had more action on this game than they had all day.
Yeah, I mean, I watched about the first hour and a half, and Australia were going along pretty well. They lost, of course, a wicket. First ball for Joe Burns. Lovely delivery from Bolt. This is played up to mid-on as Broad starts his third over.
Imagine says it's safe to predict that Johnny Bairstow will be grumpy as he is replacing a keeper but not keeping his rightful position for as long as he chooses.
It's a fair point,
He
actually.
will
isn't
be
it?
sulking in the outfield again, won't he?
Probably.
He should be counting his blessings.
Although he was the first person down there to help out the stricken cameraman.
Well, it's like when you're the new boy in the team, you want to try and do everything.
Want to impress.
Help out.
Yeah, I
Yes.
suppose so. Broad in again, bowls to Markram, gets in behind this length ball, defends it back to the bowler, no run.
I mean, you look at this England batting lineup and you wonder where the class is. And Root has obviously he's not had a great 18 months, but he's got a very good Test record. And Burns has ground himself out, to be a decent Test opener. But the rest of it is very, very much. You wonder if they're the 5 best batsmen that are England qualified.
Broad outside the off stump, left alone by Hamza. Sorry, Markram. No, well, I'll come back to that. One, you're missing out the fact that Root's coming off a double 100.
No, he is.
I know you don't stay up during the night to watch cricket like the rest of us.
And it is a stronger batting lineup than England sent out 20 years ago when Chris Adams was making his debut.
Yeah, that's
You
yeah,
always
say
bring it
anymore.
back to Sussex, won't you?
Well, it's actually an anti-Sussex point there. I don't think Chris Adams would have been quite right for Test cricket.
Ian
Well, he proved he
Salisbury played
wasn't.
for Sussex as well. He was
Ian
lousy.
Salisbury.
Never played in a winning England team.
Well, that's because Ian Salisbury was playing.
Broad in, bowls
Exactly,
to Mark.
exactly my point, Fred.
Defends a good length ball. Ball dribbles past Broad up towards Anderson at mid-on. So Root's coming off a double 100.
Yes, he is.
Ben Stokes, you have to say, is without question one of England's best batsmen.
He is.
So you've got those two.
And Sibley is obviously very, very early in his Test career.
Yeah.
I'm basically having a go at Denley again. This is what I do
I don't
most of
understand
the
that,
time. I
because
don't think he's in the top 15 England qualified
Denley-
batsmen.
Denley's-
And he's found a way of as I say, he came in because of his. In Sri Lanka, they wanted a third spinning option,
Left alone outside the off stump again.
and all of a sudden he's missed a fixture in the middle order. I mean, he's crap.
Well, I think that's a bit harsh, isn't
Well-
it? You're talking about a man who's averaging 30 in Test cricket.
He's just about 30.
Yeah, and you're talking about a man who's coming off 2
30 in
games.
Test cricket is not a good Test batting average.
But he's performed better recently, hasn't he? He's getting better.
Well, yes, he had a 90 where he was dropped on naught and then not given out LBW to Unplum, which they didn't review. Which it swings and roundabouts, but he's as being, the spare man, he's all of a sudden a fixture, and I don't get it.
Now this turns Markram round a little bit. It was short, and he was looking to sort of turn that onto the onside. He got a little bit of a leading edge towards Gully, and there was no run. It's the end of the over, 24 for 1 from 6.
And he did the worst drop in the history of Test cricket.
Oh, you can't hold that against him.
I can.
I mean, you can't, because the chances of England winning that game were almost nil. So it wasn't important in that sense. And also,
Was it the worst drop
he's
in the history of
man.
Test cricket?
No, because we saw Mike Gattings, didn't we?
No, much worse. No. Any catch at short leg is going to be harder than a
He wasn't
dolly
a
at-
short leg. He was at sort of silly mid-off, and it just looped up to him, and he had about half an hour to walk over to it and take
Can I
it.
interject a fact into this
Oh, God, not a fact.
opinionated
No,
diatribe?
no, we don't want facts.
45% humidity.
Oh, 45, that's
Yeah,
not a
it
lot,
says,
is it?
thank you, Messy Jez, or Merry Jessmas, for that. Currently 32 centigrade and 45% humidity in Pretoria.
So what does that mean? The air is 50% water?
Yes,
Something.
yes.
Okay.
Anderson in to Hamza, who drops this down, and he sends Markram back, who has to hurry as the throw comes in from the much maligned Joe Denley
Correctly
at square
maligned
cover.
Joe Denley, who missed the stumps, I think you'll note.
Yeah, but he scared him. Now, the other thing is to point out is that he has got 160 runs in the 2 matches that they've played in South Africa so far. And he's only
shouldn't be
been
on
out
the
once. Well, I think that's harsh. I mean, really, I've not been impressed with what I've seen of Sibley, I have to say. He may come
He's
good,
played
but I'm
2
not
test
convinced.
matches.
I know, but sometimes you just get a feel about a player, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, Burns looks ugly as well.
Well, no, he looks ugly, but he gets runs. I'm not sure about the same about Sibley. He looks a little bit better, but got a very open stance. Next ball is full, defended into the offside by Hamza, and there is no run. I think Denley has worked hard and done quite well
Do you think he's
in
in
the
the top 5
circumstances.
batsmen in England? English qualified batsmen.
Well, you've got to take Root out of the equation. You've got to take Stokes out of the equation. I mean, since you seem to be well up on this, name me
I
some
think there's
players.
one at every county who's
Really?
better than Denley. I think there's probably 2 players at Kent who are better than Denley.
But are they English qualified?
Yeah.
No, that's the one that swings back. Anderson has finally got that one going, and that's quite clever because they've been leaving balls wide of the off stump. But if you can get that one going, it'll just make them think a little bit more.
And he's like 30, what is he, 33?
33. I think in an emergency, he's done he's been a pretty good sticking
It's not
plaster.
been an emergency, has
Well,
it?
it kind of has, because we've struggled so much at the top of the order. I know he's not actually at the top of the order, but he's batted at 4. He's opened the batting. He's now gone down to 3. He's doing whatever England's asking of him.
Well, yeah, so would you if
Well,
they picked you. But
yeah.
that doesn't make you a good, a good selection.
Yeah, but I probably wouldn't be averaging 30. Onto the back foot goes Hamza, forces, but straight to the much maligned Joe Denley at
Not
square
just
cover.
Yeah, if you want to compare him to someone else, Dave Wood has been in touch to say.
I don't think
so
Dave Wood's one of the best
statistically,
English-
Denley is better than Ramprakash.
There you go.
Well, he was
There
a
you
perennial
go.
underachiever, wasn't he?
Well, that's true, but Ramprakash was picked at sort of 19, wasn't he, for playing for England? There's a bit of a difference when you pick a guy who, if he comes off, is going to be a fixture for 10 years, and Denley, who hasn't got much cricket left in him.
Can I say 2 words? Abid Ali,
You can, but why?
Well, he's
32-year-old debutant for Pakistan.
who's just got 200s in a row.
200s in a row.
Pushed to Archer, who's quite close there at extra cover, and there is no run. So just gone 11 balls now without a run. It's just quietened down a little bit after quite exciting opening.
I've got a lot of ground on the tweets to make up
Well,
here, Fred.
please do.
Knackle, good morning, Knackle. Wants to clarify that the 2 debutants are, of course, Pretorius and
Van der Dussen.
exactly, and that Dave Wood says, I'm not sure that Lythe is a great indication of someone made for Test cricket. Sounds like a failed experiment to me.
Anderson bowls. They're going to get a single here. Lovely pick-up by Archer, who takes it on his left hand, turns and throws with his right towards the non-striker zone, but they get through comfortably. So that breaks the spell, and Markram will keep the strike, or rather Hamza will keep the strike. 20... Sorry. 25 for 1 is the score. Yes, Adam Lythe, I was looking at his record from last year. I mean, didn't even score 100 last summer for Yorkshire. So I wonder whether that's, something that happens to players. They've had a little taste of Test cricket. They get dropped. They go back and think, well, can I force my way back in? After a couple of years, it hasn't happened for them, and then they just sort of lose a little bit of impetus, I think. I think that happened a bit to Denley, to be honest.
Well, possibly. Yeah. Mark Zip has been in touch to say one of his best presents came from his sister, who recited a poem that he didn't know, Cricket by Michael Hoffman. Do you know that one, Henzo?
I don't.
I assume that you literate gorilla types can recite this from memory at the drop of a hat.
In
But I've
Greek.
not known it before, and he's very kindly sent us a copy of it from Poetry Magazine. It really is quite wonderful.
We'll have a little listen to that in a minute. Broad bowls, rather awkwardly fetched round the corner by the batsman out to Archer, who's patrolling a long leg, had to make about 20 yards around the boundary to his left.
Merry Messi Jesmus didn't like my Christmas cracker joke. He said Booker 2's definition of a good Christmas cracker joke leaves a lot to be desired. And
right
Chris
about
Dew says that his Christmas crackers were very disappointing. No bangs, no hats, no jokes. Very poor return on investment.
That is, that's
Take them back today.
Yes, exactly. What exactly did they have then to commend them? Missing everything, basically. Hamza waits. Broad is in. Oh, now he leaves that rather extravagantly down the leg side, sort of skipping over towards his off stump. And through the keeper it goes. We're going to have a change at the end of this over.
Durban Oak has said good morning from York. Should I turn over to Gorillas South Africa and sledge them? Hendo, by the way, before Fred puts on that change of commentary jingle, can I just read out a load of tweets because I'm
You can.
behind?
And then-
instead of that,
we
instead
just
of
got-
the change of commentary jingle,
Just got to find out who else we've got out there so far. Who else has
I
arrived?
think Andy's arrived. Merry Messi Jesmus, we've heard from him. Yeah, you gave us the humidity figure. Durban Oak. Good morning from York. Should I turn over to Gorilla South Africa and sledge them?
Yes, sledge them. Absolutely. Down the
Right,
right side again.
yes.
Short ball from Broad. Durban Oak, if you're in England, you really, you ought to come to the, the headquarters of the great Gorilla organisation while you're in England, really.
Yes, and he goes on to say, I heard that England are wearing black armbands for Bob Willis, which is absolutely true. All RIP Bob Willis, a huge loss to cricket. Steve Aldersley, good morning Gorillas. It's 3:15 a.m. here in Canada and I'm somehow awake. What's the over-under on Bairstow calling for a review?
Onto the back foot goes Hamza, then flicks that away with a lot of wrist up to mid-on, or certainly wide of mid-on. He strolls round.
Mojo says a platinum duck, an amazing feat by Dean Elgar. Platinum duck,
Doesn't
yes.
happen very often. I'd just like to say hello to Malcolm West, who appears to be listening, probably from the Czech Republic. He is my club captain at Blenheim Park Cricket Club, or at least he is till the next AGM anyway. So, hello Malcolm, hope you're enjoying your winter festivities. It's probably nice and cold out there.
Marvellous.
You've
Hope
got
to
some
get-
hot news on that then.
Hope to get a game for you, Fred, this summer. BJ Mead says, in a nerdy sort of way, I'm feeling quite pleased because my son has given me an Amazon Echo and it has TuneIn available. I'm listening in on that. Well done, BJ Mead. That's well worth achievement, well worth chronicling.
Broad bowls back of a length, defended. It was quite straight towards mid wicket. 28 for 1's the score. 1 ball to go in the end of this over. We'll have a change. Fred will move into the hot seat, and hopefully we'll get hold of Andy, and we'll see who else is
Rog,
out
possibly.
there. Possibly.
The Bear. We have a 3-person joke.
Maybe. Any more tweets? Yes?
Men with Ven is listening from a filthy, rainy Los Angeles. Thank the Lord for non-geo-block broadcasting.
Oh, it's a tough life, isn't it, Men with Ven? You've given up on the wildebeest of Whistable, and we're gonna have a two-man change by the looks of things. Outside the off stump, left alone. At the end of the over, South Africa 28 for 1. Markram has 15. Hamza has 12. There'll be loads of tweets,
Loads of
and then
tweets.
Andy and the Bear will
I'm
join
full
us.
19 minutes behind here. Genro, hello. Hola, mi gente. Merry everything. There's still no effing snow here. Knuckles says that Zubair Hamza has a very good first-class record. Averages just over 50 from 60 games, 11 hundreds and a best of 202 not out. He was also the only South African to pass 50 in the one test he played in India, and he did well for South Africa A the year before. That's exactly what Hendo was going to say when Fred asked him about Zubair Hamza. But thank you, Knuckle, for completing the answer to that much more thoroughly. Mia Katie says, morning chaps. Happy Boxing Day test from me in rainy Devon. Mayank says the other Gorillas are about 2 seconds behind you guys.
First ball of a new over from Jimmy Anderson's down the leg side. I think it came off the pad, and Butler did a good sprawling stop away to his left. Credit where it's due. Joss Butler stopped the ball. It's still 28 for 1. We've had a two-person change, and when they sit down and get their bearings, I shall introduce them to you. Yeah, it did come off the pad. It was going well down the leg side. A good stop from Butler, and coming in to be reading some of your tweets, the good ones.
Some of exactly.
Yes, very welcome to. Very welcome.
It's a very welcome
A very
to me.
great
yes.
welcome to Andy Ward.
Morning.
as the next ball from Anderson is blocked to Archer at extra cover, no run.
Yes, and for those of you watching on Facebook Live, this is my Christmas shirt, so do not adjust your set.
Really? Looks pretty.
Very nice.
And having coming into my right, playing your jingles, it's the man, the myth, the bear, the legend, the bear.
Thanks, Fred.
Did you win that bet?
No, I fucking didn't. I
'cause it
didn't
was
get
the
under
first
on
ball.
the first one, and then I went under the second one. Thought we might get a quick double, and we haven't. 25.5 as the next marker.
Anderson bowls outside the off stump, and Hamza leaves. So, welcome to you both coming in early on this Boxing Day morning.
Yeah, I was up so early, I thought I was going to work at Matalan.
It's lost on me, but
Some branches of Matalan were open at 4 a.m. this morning.
really? Who has to go to Matalan at 4 a.m.
I
on a
don't
Boxing
know,
Day
but they
morning?
were
No one.
opening.
Dear. We're looking at the England seamers' lengths have all been pretty good. There's not been much dross. In fact, probably the worst ball of the day was the one that got the wicket, which was filthed down the leg side from Anderson's first ball of the Test match. He's in again, and he bowls, and this
Yeah, bowls.
shapes in nicely towards Hamza, who does get the bat down on it and plays it to mid-wicket, no run, but some good shape from Jimmy.
Yeah, Linux Lear loves that the eternal sledgehammer of justice has been preferred to Bairstow at keeper. That was one who, whoever you made keeper, you could say you were upsetting the other person, so I think it's fair enough to stick
Well,
with
no,
Butler.
Butler is the keeper at the moment.
Yeah, I mean they said that, didn't they? So
Bairstow's come in because somebody else is injured.
North Stand Gang Wankade sends us a gif of them singing a Jimmy Anderson jingle.
Another ball which shapes into Hamza from Jimmy, and this one he gets inside, plays it out towards point where Denley happens to be fielding. I don't know why he's playing. I may have made that point. 28 for 1.
Arthur Patricia says, good morning, like many others in England, because it's a commonplace tradition. I'm off to the Boxing Day vintage tractor parade.
Aren't we
shortly."
all?
wow, that
Well,
sounds amazing.
That's
Where's
where
that?
we all would have been if we weren't here today. But stopping by to wish you season's greetings and say, England, pick a damn spinner. Well, too late for that.
Well, he's injured. He's ill, isn't he?
Yes, he wasn't quite fit as Anderson bowls again, shapes back into Hamza. He's bowling a good line, and a testing spell from Jimmy Anderson. He has the 1 wicket to fall today. At the end of the over, 28 for 1.
Julia Farman, MBE, it says here.
Very nice.
Is that real? Like,
No,
it-
yeah,
it
yeah,
does
yeah,
have an
she's an
MBE.
MBE.
Just like people call themselves lords on Twitter. And
No.
things.
services to the civil service. I
Well
think,
done,
isn't it?
Jules, and well deserved. And she's given us a plug on Twitter. Mog says Root is a faded belle who should just quietly retreat into the shadows, so we don't have to see all of his flaws in the harsh, direct light.
He's very nice about you,
Don't
Mog.
we all? Gorilla Cricket, he's got from Evil Scooters quote, he's got a long, long time to think about what he's done. We hope. Is that referring to Elgar, presumably?
Probably. There was I'm not saying I feel sorry for him, but having come out to bat, the start of an innings, he's used to it. He's got a lot of experience. There was a 5-minute or a 3-minute delay as a cameraman behind the arm was taken ill and had to be stretchered off. And Jimmy was looking extremely grumpy, but it can't help the batsman as well when you
It's not ideal.
psyched yourself
No.
up and then you have to reset yourself. And he just gloved one down the leg side, which was a terrible ball.
It was one weekend, I got first ball on Saturday, first ball of the innings. Then I was going to be changing bowl. Then on the Sunday, before our innings, I was running around desperately trying to find a suitable match ball.
Change of bowling. He's as yet unnamed, but he's left arm over the wicket and he bowls, and this is driven over extra cover. Bloody hell. Markham's not hanging around. He's smashed this up and over extra cover and down to the boundary for 4 runs.
It's Nissan She.
Well, showing no respect to the bowler, who is this
No, this man.
chap.
It was a floaty half volley though.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sankara. What's his distinguishing feature? Sankara. He's not from Zimbabwe. Sankara. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sankara.
Well, I was asking Hendo earlier as Cowan comes in and bowls, and this one is, well, he plays inside it, does Markram, as it went past the outside edge. Curran is coming on at first change. They're using, we're told, a Kookaburra ball which doesn't swing after the first couple of overs, and swing is very much what Sam
he's
Curran's
got.
bowling is about. And I'm wondering quite what he's going to do. It's be interesting to see. He
Well,
does
I
swing
think-
the ball even when the ball doesn't swing.
I think Markram has about as much respect for Curran as a test bowler as I do, judging from that first shot.
As Curran bowls against his edge and bounces short of the captain at
Obviously.
first slip. He got a genuine outside edge. It bounced a couple of yards short of Root, who parried it in front of him, so no runs scored. I think he can swing the ball more often. He doesn't need a perfect new ball.
Overcast day.
An overcast
yeah.
day and all that. I think he's a natural swinger of the ball. But I've been saying since he came into the Test match arena that people have been a little bit seduced by his hitting when he's in the game as a bowler. He's hit straight to Bairstow at mid-wicket, and Curran has got the wicket. We always said he's a fantastic bowler, and the second wicket has fallen for South Africa.
I won't look back
What was he doing?
by the time.
Yeah, just flicked it to mid-wicket and was caught very low down to the ground. And I think he's asking himself the same question in more harsh words.
Trying to be too aggressive, isn't he?
Well, yeah,
I
he's
mean,
hit the first ball. That was a length ball on the hip, sort of on the pad, and he's just turned it to short mid-wicket, who takes the catch, diving forward. A good catch, actually, by the Ginger Bairstow, who's delighted with himself, as well he ought to be. Markram has gone for a rather odd 20.
Was a bit strange. First of all, finish my story. I was out first ball in that innings as well, as you probably guessed.
Right.
And catch up with some tweets.
And you're blaming it on the fact that you were looking for a good match ball, was that?
It didn't help.
Right.
Yeah. Mary Messi Jesma says, but Ramprakash has a much better Scrabble score than Denley. Dave Wood says, can't argue with that, although Fred will probably try.
What's he not arguing with?
The Scrabble
The
score.
Scrabble
I presume.
score thing.
Ramprakash should be a very good Scrabble score.
I don't think you've got enough letters.
And I don't think you have either, have you?
No, you could
add ramp, and then you just add Rakash to it.
Rakash,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
that
it's
would
not
be
really a word in English
No, it's
dictionary,
not.
is it? Proper noun, huh?
It's a proper noun. Nakul gives us some stats. Dean Elgar, the 28th man to be out first ball of a test match. Other South Africans to do that, Eddie Barlow, Jimmy Cook and Gary Kirsten. And the people who did it the most, one you might be able to guess, one you might not. But I think
Atherton?
I think they're both Indian.
Sonny Gavaskar?
Gavaskar, yes. But if you get the other one, Hanan Sarkar, I'd have been very... You were just about to say...
That was my third
tip of
guess,
my tongue,
actually.
Andy. What are you on about?
Nakul has sent us some pictures of some balloon animals as well. Out of his Christmas crackers came balloons and instructions for making balloon animals.
Well, we've lost a wicket, so there's a new batsman in, and it's this chap.
Life goes on, right? La 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 la, life goes on.
That's how you do a jingle.
And
It's
we're-
like 5 seconds, in and out. Thank you very much, Sherwood. And Faf du Plessis will be facing up to Sam Curran. It's a full ball, which he blocks to cover. No run, 32 for 2.
A song that, of course, does double duty on Gorilla Jingles. Obla Di Obla Da. Doesn't someone else have that one?
Yes, I think they do.
It was a song that Lennon hated so much he wouldn't let them release it, and Marmalade had a hit with it before the Beatles did.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of stuff which the internal... Well, we're not going to talk about the Beatles again. I think you did it the other day, judging by the Twitter feed. And,
Oh, okay. I mustn't have been. It must have been one of the short periods in which I wasn't listening.
As this is another full ball, basically a half volley, which is turned to Bairstow on the bounce at mid-wicket. The end of the over, successful one for England and for Sam Curran. South Africa 32 for 2. Hamza has 12, and du Plessis yet to get off the mark.
So England got to be very happy with that start.
Having put them in, yeah.
Having put them in, absolutely. I did see on the. I was checking the prices yesterday, and I saw the draw was a good 7 to 1. People not fancying a draw in this game.
Well, 2 weakish batting lineups.
Yeah.
Weather forecast is pretty good. You know, if you've got 5th day tickets, probably get them on StubHub. Nice and early.
Well, they've got Philander at 7.
Yeah, Maharaj at 8. I mean,
no, Pretorius is 7.
Oh, yeah. Philander 8.
Even so, he's not a great
exactly.
bat.
He's not an 8.
2 seems, I think we think are much better in the bowling department than in the batting, but we'll wait and see.
Wicket looks a hell of a lot better than those dreary shit tracks that I had in New Zealand.
Another change of bowling.
Ooh.
And it's going to be the man who bowled England's last over in the World Cup, or the extra over. It's this chap.
will break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, your stumps, on your toes, on your moan. Don't frown.
Archer balls, and that comes back into Hamza, who leaves the ball, and it goes over his off stump and not very much over. Well,
No.
that was a brave leave.
It was. Arthurshire says England's policy of taking all 10 wickets in the first 30 overs before the ball turns through a bar of soap and then they get milked for 4 and over for the rest of the game seems to be working so far.
Well, if they've taken all 10 wickets, how are they going to be milked after that?
That's instead of. This
right.
is the better plan.
Right. Well, that was a brave leave. He sort of left it on length and it didn't get up all that much. And this one comes back into him again. He gets an inside edge into his inside thighs, probably stinging a bit, but he's not going to rub it and show the bowler that he's hurt. So 2 good balls from Archer to start.
Yeah, still a debate going on about whether Archer should be opening or